It starts with a birthday that never fully belongs to you. You're turning 8, or maybe 10, the tree is already up. The decorations are everywhere. The world is buzzing with holiday energy, and somewhere in the chaos, your birthday gets absorbed into the noise. We'll celebrate after Christmas. Here's a combined gift. Sorry, everyone's busy this time of year. You smile, you say it's fine, but something quietly registers in your developing mind. The one day that's supposed to be entirely yours is always competing with something bigger, something shinier, something the whole world seems to care about more. This is how a December child learns a strange truth early. You can be present and still be overlooked. You can exist and still feel like an afterthought. And that lesson doesn't disappear with age. It burrows. It shapes you in ways you're only beginning to understand. This is the psychology of people born in December. And today, we're going deep into the rare personality traits forged by winter, by timing, by the peculiar experience of arriving when the world is already celebrating something else. Let's start with what science actually tells us. Researchers have long studied the effects of birth season on personality, cognition, and mental health. And December births occupy a unique psychological space. A study published in the Journal of Social Sciences found that people born in winter months, particularly December, often score higher in imaginative thinking and creative problem-solving. The hypothesis is fascinating. Being born during the darkest time of year, when days are shortest and light is scarce, may influence early brain development in ways that enhance introspection and abstract thinking. Your brain came into the world during the season of stillness, of long nights, of turning inward because there was less world to turn outward to. And that environment, those early weeks and months of sensory experience, left an imprint. December-born individuals also show distinct patterns in temperament research. Studies using the Tanjari assessment found that winter births correlate with lower irritability and fewer mood swings compared to those born in summer. You're often calmer, more measured, less reactive. But this steadiness comes with a shadow, a tendency toward melancholy, toward a low-grade heaviness that others don't always see. You're the one who seems fine, who seems balanced. But underneath, there's a quiet ache, sadness that visits without invitation and stays longer than it should. This isn't weakness. This is neurobiological architecture. Your brain was wired in the season of endings, when the year was dying and the world was preparing to hibernate. Some part of you still carries that rhythm. But biology is only the beginning. Let's talk about what it actually felt like to grow up as a December child. You were often the youngest in your class. The cutoff dates for school enrollment meant you entered a world of children who were months older, sometimes nearly a year older. And in childhood, months are galaxies. They were taller, stronger, more developed cognitively. Teachers praised their reading. Coaches picked them first. And you were left wondering why everything felt slightly harder than it should. Psychologists call this the relative age effect. It's well documented in sports, academics, and social development. Children born at the end of the year consistently face disadvantages because they re-competing against peers with significantly more developmental time. But here's what the research doesn't capture: the internal experience. The way you internalize that gap. The way you started believing you were slower, weaker, less capable when really you were just younger. That belief didn't announce itself, it whispered. It became the background hum of your self-concept. I have to try harder. I have to work more. I'm always slightly behind. And so you developed something rare: relentless persistence. A tolerance for difficulty that others didn't need to build because the world was harder for you from the start. Your grit wasn't born from inspiration, it was forged from necessity. And that makes it unshakable. But the December experience goes deeper than academics and athletics. There's the birthday wound, the one almost every December child carries but rarely names. Your celebrations were minimized, merged with holidays, forgotten in the chaos of family gatherings and year-end obligations. People were tired. Budgets were stretched. Energy was depleted from Christmas shopping and New Year's planning. And your birthday, your singular day, became a footnote. You learned not to expect too much. You learned to celebrate yourself quietly, if at all. You learned that asking for attention during December made you inconvenient. So you stopped asking. This is a form of emotional conditioning. When a child repeatedly experiences their needs being deprioritized, they internalize a belief: I am not worth the inconvenience. And that belief doesn't stay confined to birthdays. It bleeds into relationships, careers, self-advocacy. You might struggle to ask for what you deserve. You might minimize your accomplishments because celebrating yourself still feels like a burden to others. You might accept less than you re-worth because you learned early that your timing made you easy to overlook. But here's the twist. That same conditioning built something powerful in you. Because you weren't handed attention, you developed self-sufficiency. Because you weren't showered with external validation, you learned to generate worth from within. Because your day was always shared, you became remarkably generous with sharing your energy, your time, your presence. December children often grow into adults with unusual emotional intelligence. You learned to read rooms early, to sense when space was scarce, to give more than you took because taking felt dangerous. You became the friend who remembers everyone's birthday, the partner who notices the small things, the person who gives gifts that make people cry because you pay attention in ways others don't. This is not coincidence. This is compensation. This is a child who didn't receive, becoming an adult who over-delivers. And it's beautiful, but it's also exhausting. So let's talk about what you need to hear. Your timing was never a flaw. December didn't make you less. It made you different. It made you the person who understands what it feels like to be overlooked and who refuses to let others feel that way. But you are allowed to take up space now. You are allowed to have a birthday that's just yours, to demand celebration, to insist on being seen without apology. You are allowed to stop performing sufficiency and actually receive for once. This is your shadow work. Not becoming less giving, but learning to give to yourself with the same generosity you pour into everyone else. Ask yourself, when did I decide that my needs were less urgent? When did I learn that I had to earn space in a room? When did I start believing that my existence was inconvenient? Those beliefs were formed before you had the ability to question them, but you can question them now. You can unlearn the lie that your timing made you an afterthought. You can celebrate yourself loudly, even if no one taught you how. You can stop apologizing for being born when the world was already busy, because here's what December actually means. You arrived during the darkest time, when the nights were longest, when the cold was deepest, when the world was waiting for light to return, and then you came. December children carry the energy of that transition. You are the ones born on the threshold between endings and beginnings. You understand closure in ways others don't. You feel the weight of what's passing and the hope of what's coming. That's not a burden. That's a gift. You are the bridge between what was and what will be. The ones who can sit with darkness without being destroyed by it. The ones who know that light returns, not because you were told, because you were born into the proof. Carl Jung wrote, as far as we can discern, the sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light in the darkness of mere being. You were kindled in that darkness. You are that light. So if you were born in December, know this. You are not an afterthought. You are the finale, the crescendo, the last breath before the world begins again. Your birthday wasn't overshadowed. It was positioned at the most powerful time of year when humanity collectively pauses to reflect, to release, to hope. You are rare, forged in winter, refined by overlooking, made resilient by every celebration that forgot to center you. But you remember everyone else. You show up for everyone else. You pour into everyone else. Now it's time to let someone pour into you. Let yourself be celebrated. Let yourself be seen. Let yourself be born finally, not in the shadow of a holiday, but in the fullness of who you were always meant to become. December gave you to the world. Now give yourself permission to receive it back.